Hey friends, Diane here. So let's start talking about debt by going to the Bible first, shall we? Proverbs 27:7 says, "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender." Obviously, being in debt is not what God desires for us. It may not be a sin, but it is certainly not wise either. While there may be situations in life where we have little to no control over major debt situations, we are mainly talking about things we can control here. The way Mr. Ramsey views debt is completely opposite of the way this world treats debt. He says we must shift our perspective, or we will always be the slave to some lender or other. He says the world wants us to believe that debt is a service or reward that is offered to help consumers. Lie. The truth is, debt is a product, the most successfully marketed product in history. Recall how we talked about saving for purchases last week? In our not too distant past, people actually only bought what they physically had the funds to buy. Imagine that. It was not until 1950 that the first credit card was even created. Others quickly followed, and now, as Mr. Ramsey says, we can't imagine living without car loans and credit cards. He says, if you tell a lie or spread a myth often enough, loud enough, and long enough, eventually the myth becomes accepted as truth. That's where we are with debt in America, trapped in the myth that credit is a normal, healthy part of life. This author gives us several myths we must learn the truth about so that we can be successful at getting and staying out of debt. I'll only mention one since I'm specifically talking about credit card debt here. Myth: if I pay my credit card off every month, I enjoy the perks without the pain of overspending in debt. Truth: when you pay with plastic instead of cash, you spend more. He cites a study that shows spending physical cash causes pain centers to go off in our brains, while using credit cards do not. So because of the disconnect between spending and feeling it, when we pull out the plastic, we will spend more. For example, when McDonald's started accepting credit cards as a form of payment, the average sale went from $4.75 to $7. That's a 47% increase, and the only thing that changed was the method of payment. That may not sound like a lot to us in dollars, but 47%? That's almost half of what we would have spent if we paid cash. Bottom line, please make the shift to believe that paying by credit card is never a good idea. The Bible points us to the fruit of the Spirit, which tells us that self-control is a godly virtue. We must pay attention to what we are spending so we can control our spending in order to get and remain debt-free. Draw the line today. No more plastic debt. See you tomorrow.